Hey, my name is Amiraa Vee, and I am the founder and fine jewelry designer for Adore Adorn.
Hi, my name is Amiraa Vee. I am a celebrity fashion stylist and also the founder of V-Mode Consulting.
Since I started Adore Adorn, it was always a real commitment of mine to work with like-minded individuals because I had a commitment to work with heartfelt individuals and heartfelt brands that were like Adore Adorn. When Amiraa and I met, I felt like it was a symbiotic relationship, like it felt very fluid because she clearly has style, but she also has a commitment to doing the work that I do as well. I feel like it's very easy for brands to work with only celebrities or big names, but I think that us Black and brown community, like we are the culture, we are creating these moments, and this felt very fluid and real for us.
Sasha and I met, we automatically connected, and she came to visit my showroom, which is based in downtown Los Angeles. We spoke some more. I started using her designs for my clients, and we naturally just built an authentic relationship.
When Amiraa and I first met, I was drawn to her style. She had this like really beautiful flowing dress.
How do you remember what I wore?
Because you look like Lauryn Hill. She did. And so I visited her studio in order to just like show her some of the pieces. And at the time, she was always like really focused on rings, and Adore Adorn is a heavy ring brand. So we put some pieces in her showroom and we just started like working like that. The collaboration came a couple of years later after we worked together for what, like a few years
Yeah,
now.
we did some placements. One of my favorites was for Diamond Shield. She's a WNBA player for the ESPYs. But I've always been drawn to her designs because they're bold, they make a statement, there's a story that lies behind it, and it naturally connects to morals and values that I believe in. This also felt really natural to be able to now come together and create a collection together.
Adore Adorn in 2022-2023, we were considering to expand the brand by collaborations and promotions. We did a couple of like small runs with small brands or individual designers who created these like beautiful moments for us, but we knew all along that we always wanted to do a little bit more than that. And so I just approached Amiraa, was like, hey, have you ever thought about doing jewelry? And she was like, I don't know. That sounds great though. Let's talk about it. And then after like a little bit of time, like we finally aligned on actually collaborating and doing this full collection, which was supposed to start out as 6 pieces, as just like this small tiny thing that kind of grew as we just like continued to create and like be excited about the process.
Mm-hmm. And really let the synergy just kind of take the forefront. I think that when she approached me to do this, I was like super stoked about it because this was very much in alignment with how I want to continue to grow as a creative, is to start creating collections for different brands. So this was like right on par. And then also it was jewelry. So for me, it felt like a challenge, but also something that I was super excited to take on because I wanted to be stretched. I wanted to learn more about this industry, this lane. And Sasha made the creative process very immersive for me, and I just was like soaking it all up like a sponge. So it was super exciting, and I can't believe that we're here.
Yeah. So it was a priority for me to work with a Black or brown creative during this process because my background is in marketing advertising, and I always felt like there was this like space that we had to fill within hiring Black creatives. I always tried to be immersive in those processes and try to like lend my talents to be able to expand on Black and brown creatives, but it wasn't always a supportive space. And the reality is that we're the ones that are really kind of creating those moments. Like Amiraa, one thing that I always noticed about her is that she creates these inspirational moments for like people to aspire to. And that was just something that Adore Adorn wanted to attach to.
Yeah, and for me, I honestly really love the fact that Adore Adorn was just always super supportive. It didn't matter for me as a creative or as a fashion stylist, like if I had an A-list client or an executive, someone that she probably didn't know about. So it just felt really natural. I love the fact that as a Black woman as well that is in this jewelry space and creating her own lane, I felt super tied to that as well, and I connected because I feel like in my space I'm creating my own lane. So this just all felt really natural. I also love the fact that Adore Adorn, what it stands for, is really built on heritage and the story behind the pieces. Sasha ties into her family, and I was just like really connecting to the story behind it. I don't want to just collaborate with brands just to collaborate with them, but it has to be meaningful, it has to be intentional with everything that I do. So this was just natural alignment.
Yeah, I mean, Adore Adorn isn't just a brand, like I'm a person and I'm building in that space, but also like we aligned as people. And that's one of the first things for me when I'm collaborating is like, who is this human that I'm working with and what kind of message do we have to tell together? That was like priority.
And I think we did that.
Yeah.
So in December 2022, this was actually a little bit after Sasha had approached me about potentially doing a collection together, but we hadn't fully decided what we wanted to do. So I went to Ghana for the first time, I went to Africa for the first time, and it was just a indescribable experience. Like, it left such an impact on me. I visited Accra, Ghana, and I was there for 2 weeks, and I spent a lot of time just at the beach, near the water, my feet in the sand, and just really pinching myself like, I'm in Africa. I also had my hairstyle a certain way. I had 6 cornrows back, and I had silver and gold shells that were like adorned on my braids, and I just was like, hey, I'm just gonna go to Africa and do my hair like this. I didn't even think too much about it. Once I got there, I started interacting with so many people. They were stopping me left and right. It was literally a conversation starter. And I also was educated. It was an opportunity for the people of Ghana to educate me on cowrie shells, what that meant to them, and how that was in relation to their form of currency probably 60 years ago, so not that long. And it's almost as if I was very much associated with just money and wealth. And it was literally like I was wearing their currency on my hair. So that not only was I getting a lot of attention from, it also sparked inspiration. Sasha and I started having the conversation, told her all about my trip. She loved the idea of, sparking that inspiration by using shell as like somewhat of a component for us to build on, and not in a literal way, but just inspiration. And I think we kind of went from there.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the reason why I loved it so much is because of a lot of Adore Adorn is built on like natural materials. We use a lot of gemstones and crystals. Natural materials, our metals are all semi-precious, so they come from the earth.
And then how the name came about, KOKIYAJ, which is a Creole term for seashell. I'm Haitian, our spoken language is Creole, which is broken French. It felt like a natural way to fully tie in what I was originally inspired by, which are shells.
With Adore Adorn, I do a lot of studying of jewelry design, and like naturally, jewelry was like our currency when we were kings and queens. Like, we can date back all to ancient Africa, ancient Egypt, and when we created or crafted jewelry, it was a way to like enlighten people on who we were in the world. So like, what do you stand on? Like, who are you showing up as? And the bigger the jewelry, the more important you were. So like, when we created this collection, like some of the elements that you may think are just like design elements are actually like fluid lines that represent like culture and like lineage. It's supposed to be like these cross cuts in the metal that are actually handmade and hand cut that connect you to like spiritual elements. So like water and waves and like shells, as we already spoke about, but like these kind of like mollusks and like these energies from the organisms, like they are dated back for thousands of years. Like those lines that are created in mollusks, they go way, way back. And I think that that natural connection that Amiraa probably felt when she was in Ghana is something that is actually real and rooted in like what we actually crafted. And then spiritually, I'm always coming from a place of like, what am I feeling here? And
just being in Africa, with us being the majority, and being able to take in the style out there, the aesthetic, the natural vibes, how people interacted with one another. They spoke power when they spoke to each other, and I just felt that, and I really wanted that to be represented within this collection. And as you could see in probably the campaign photos, I was just super audacious with how I styled it. I just wanted to really feel like a queen in it, right? And just be adorned in what we've created. And I think jewelry naturally, accessories naturally, like, why not go big or go home? Like, that's my natural aesthetic to it. And I think, you know, that's probably why this just came together really well, is for our love for jewelry and our love for just being adorned.
That's the biggest thing, because like one of the things that connected us was the fact that like Amiraa was never afraid to like pile on a bunch of jewelry. And that's really—
Stack, stack, stack.
Yeah, stack it on. And that's like why I create, is because I'm creating for the people that want something different, something that's not the same that they normally see. And even though this collection is all metal, I feel like we still like encapsulated that like journey of just trying to be someone that stands out. You can go walk outside in this New York City street and you're gonna stand out as soon as you put these pieces on.
Absolutely, it's a bold statement without you even having to say anything.
Yep.
Naturally, I like to creative express myself with my hairstyles. And I like to just get sparks of inspiration. It wasn't planned out, it's just what I feel in the moment. So when I got the shells, or I adorned the shells on my hair, I was like, should I just do silver? Should I just do gold? Let's just do both. Let's just mix it up. You know, I really believe in mixing metals, as you can see here. So when I went to Ghana, that automatically was a point of conversation. I just was getting educated left and right, and naturally I was like, wow, not only is this wearable art, it is currency, but it also inspired me, like, okay, when I come back to the States, I want to do more accessorizing that feels like wearable art. I feel like I can really, you know, continue to express myself in this lane naturally, even as a stylist. So I brought that to Sasha. We spoke about it, built more on that, and we decided to strictly use just metals for this collection, and went from there.
I knew that we could kind of try to find a way to translate what you were inspired with into an actual collection.
Without it being so literal.
It didn't have to be literal.
Right.
That's the perfect word. Like, how could we do it that feels like it's for everybody?
Absolutely.
And timeless. For everybody. Yes.
And timeless.
Yes.
So it wasn't just going to be for a specific season, for a specific trend, but most of all, timeless.
Yeah, so we like use the shapes and the lines and fluidity to kind of like inspire the final pieces versus like bringing in actual shell. Like you can see this 100 years from now and
still put it on. And it ain't gonna wear and tear either.
Yes.
Jewelry is meant to be worn however you see fit. So when it came to creating KOKIYAJ alongside with Sasha, I was thinking about, all right, when these pieces are finished, how can we really make it feel like wearable art as well? Kind of like how I had my shells adorned on my hair. And so to incorporate it into styling, I came up with being able to just also add it as pieces onto, let's just say, a blazer, right? We have earrings, we have brooches, also necklaces that I was able to pin on this blazer just to give it some versatility, and that way it is automatically styled. I don't believe jewelry is just meant to wear as jewelry. Sometimes you can get creative, like I did here, and add it to a blazer, and then you're automatically walking art. And it's wearable art.
And I think like one of the things that excited us was also runway. We've been seeing a lot of like—
inspired. Schiaparelli is one of my favorite
and like
brands.
Seeing men just like wearing their lapels again and like wearing something, like I'm always inspired by vintage too. So like seeing that men are into jewelry again, we thought about how can we make some of this stuff unisex.
Unisex, yep. And this is how guys can wear it, whether it's on their lapels of their suiting or if they want to get super funky and creative and adorn their clothing with the brooches and earrings.